This next example will look at computing the expected value for a life insurance policy. So in this case, we can think of it as when you buy a particular policy from an insurance company, what they're doing is they're sort of taking a gamble, or they're making a bet on whether or not the person buying the policy will live or whether or not they'll die. And so there's a certain probability that those events happen. And so in the case that it does happen, they will have to pay out a certain amount of money. In the case when you don't die, then the insurance company gets to keep the premiums that you pay for your policy. So let's read it. When someone buys a life insurance policy, that policy will pay out a sum of money to a benefactor upon the death of the policyholder. Suppose a 25-year-old male buys a $150,000 one-year term life insurance policy for $250. The probability that the male will not survive the year is 0.0013. Okay, so in this case, in the case when the person dies, then the insurance company is going to have to pay out $150,000 minus the $250 that you wound up paying for the policy in the first place. And in the case when you live, well, then they don't lose anything. They just get to keep that $250 that you paid. Now in this case, because the person is relatively young, the probability that they die is very small, and so they perhaps have a good chance that they will not have to pay out that policy. So the experiment has two possible outcomes: the person survives or the person dies. So they live or they die. Let the random variable x represent, I should say x there, the money lost or gained by the life insurance company for the 25-year-old male after many years. What is the expected value for the company? Well, let's think of the different outcomes here. So in the case that the person buying the policy survives, well, he's going to pay $250 to that insurance company, and that's going to occur with a 0.9987 probability. How did I find that? Well, I used the probability that he's dying as 0.0013, so I can do 1 minus that, to get the probability that he survives. Now the probability that he dies, of course, would be 0.0013. In which case the insurance company is going to pay out $150,000, but they're going to keep the $250 that they wound up paying. So in the end, they only wind up paying out $149,750. And so that was from subtracting $150,000 minus the $250 policy. So with that, now we can compute the expected value of this policy. So we'll multiply the particular x value times the probability. 250 times 0.9987, and then for the other outcome, minus 149,750, there's a probability of 0.0013. And in this case, that gives us a $55 expected value. Okay. So in this case, from the perspective of the company, this is how much they would earn per policy. In other words, if they have a lot of these particular policies out there, they would expect on average to earn $55 per policy. And if they, for instance, have 1,000 policies, they would expect to make 55 times 1,000 or $55,000.